Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. Today we are going to discuss a very important topic, that is about air pollution in India, the issues underlying it and what can be the possible solutions to tackle these problems. Now the reason why we are discussing this topic is because it has been news. Why so? Because the World Health Organization or WHO has sent a very stark message last month that the impact, or we can say the direct impact of air pollution on public health is at least twice as bad as has been estimated before. Now coming to India, we can see that out of the 50 most polluted cities in the world, 37 of them lies within India. And this despite being India has adopted a very lax attitude or very lax kind of quality standards. For example, if you look at the standards adopted by India regarding particulate matter 2.5 and particulate matter 10 are 60 and 100 microgram per meter cube respectively, while in the 24 hours time period. At the same time, if you look at the WHO's recommended standards, it is only 15 and 45 microgram per meter cube over 24 hours. Now coming to the problem that India has to face in dealing with the air pollution is that in case of India, fossil fuels are considered the major drivers of economic growth. For example, coal, oil and natural gas account for almost 75% of power generation and more than 97% of road transport. But on the flip side, the cost which we have to incur in terms of pollutant discharged by these fuels in terms of carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrous oxides, ozone and particulate matter emissions are quite heavy. But the predicament that India has to face today is that if we try to change the way how we generate power and try to clamp down on the use of petrol and diesel products or petrol and diesel vehicles, we will be seen as throttling our economic progress. So that is why it is very hard to strike a balance between environment, saving the environment, controlling the pollution, as well as at the same time continuing on the path of economic development. Now we try to understand that how serious is the situation of air pollution in India. We can see the impact that particulate matter 2.5 has. It is directly associated with, or exposure to PM 2.5 is directly associated with severe diseases like lung cancer, cerebrovascular diseases, ischemic heart diseases, as well as acute lower respiratory illness. Beside, it also is seen to be exacerbating the elements like depression or mental health. Similarly, prolonged exposure to ozone has been linked with the chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases. At the same time, prolonged exposure to air pollutants are not only threat to the grown-ups, but it also is affecting newborns and even babies who are still in the womb. And even in them, it can cause, or exposure to these pollutants can cause severe congenital defect, and thus we can see that air pollution is a threat to generations even before they are born. On the economic front, if we try to evaluate the effect of air pollution, then it has been observed that air pollution or the poor quality of air in India is responsible directly for erasing almost 3% of its GDP that is gross domestic product for the year 2019, and it has caused a loss of nearly 7 lakh crores, that is almost $95 billion as per a study conducted in year 2019. The main reasons behind this can be attributed to the fact that due to bad air quality, employees fail to show up at the work. Many people do not want to go outside their homes to buy good and thus participate in market economy. Similarly, many foreign tourists shy away from India because of the home government issuing warning or advisory against India due to poor air quality. And if you look at the official figures, we can see that there has been a loss of almost 820,000 jobs in the tourism industry alone, and almost 64% of businesses squarely have blamed air pollution for such job losses. At the same time, if we try to understand, the poor air quality does not only cause direct negative impact to the Indian economy, but indirectly it is also has found to offset 67% of the cost advantage that we incur due to using of green energies like solar panels, as ground level smoke and the particulate matter chokes their power output. Also, several studies have noted almost 25% drop in the crop yield for wheat and rice after prolonged exposure to particulate matter and ozone. And this is a very scary scenario given India is an agricultural dominant country and wheat and rice are one of the most grown crops, cereal crops in India. Now we try to come and understand that what are the possible way forward we have to deal with this challenge. So first of all, what we need to do, we have to revisit our National Ambient Air Quality Standard or NNAQS and revise them down so that it matches with the WHO standards. Similarly, we have to understand the impact air pollution has to play on the health or general health of the nation. We need to conduct a nationwide epidemiological studies to gather expansive raw health data as air pollution as a risk factor. Similarly, we can try to prioritize zero emissions transport and switch to the green energy. We can also try to have a staggered use of IC engine vehicles. The best one example can be this odd even policy that was launched by government of Delhi a few years back. Similarly, we can try to enforce a very strict clampdown on point sources of pollutions like heavy industries and something like that. Apart from that, we can also try to understand as national air quality, strengthen the national clean air program as it try to incorporate such solutions, and that is why it should be strictly implemented not only on the national scale but also on the state level as well as the district level. Another equally essential step is to expand the country's air quality monitoring network. This is very, very important because we have seen that due to expensive systems of monitoring systems, there are many urban and rural pockets are there which remain unmonitored, and that is why we fail to understand fully the extent of the effect of the extent of air pollution on a nation as a whole. In conclusion, we can say that since we have understood that the air pollution has direct linkage with the public health crisis, wasting any more time could very well lead to public health emergency. And that is why urgent steps need to be taken and efforts to be made by all the stakeholders, whether it is government, whether it is public, whether it is private agencies, that we should try to strike a balance between economic development and environmental pollution. That is all for today. Thank you.